Working?
They're coming up.
Yeah.
Now they're working.
Yeah.
They weren't doing it
Sorry.
before.
Welcome to the Elyria City Council meeting for January 3rd, 2022. At this time, I'd like to have a moment of reflective silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Callahan, would you please lead us in the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Mr. Callahan. Mr. Clerk, have roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Mrs. Davis.
Present.
Mr. Callahan.
Present.
Mr. Sierra.
Present.
Mr. Corbin.
Here.
Mr. Lippian.
Present.
Mrs. Mitchell.
Present.
Mr. Oswald.
Present.
Mr. Schneider.
Present.
Mrs. Simmons.
Present.
Mr. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Tollett.
Here.
All present.
We're going to go on to the Elyria City Council term of 2022-2023 organizational meeting. I'd like to welcome all council members, Mayor Whitfield, Safety Service Director Brubaker, Finance Director Pileski, Law Director Deary, Chief Pernesti was here, and Chief Pelko. Maybe they're watching on YouTube. Members of the administration, the news media, our local residents in the lobby, and those who are viewing on TV. At this time, I'd like to have nominations for Council President.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mitch Mitchell.
I nominate Victor S. Stewart III for Council President for the 2022-2023 term of council.
I second that nomination.
Are there any nominations, any other nominations for Council President?
I move that the nominations be closed.
I second.
Motion carried. Move over the election of Victor S. Stewart III for Council President. Mr. Clerk, can I have roll call, please?
Yes.
Aye. Aye.
Yes. Aye.
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 Chapman.
I declare that Victor S. Stewart has been elected Council President. At this time, I declare the floor open for nominations for Clerk of Council.
Mr. President, I nominate Michael J. Lockle III for Clerk of Council for the 2022-2023 term of council, retroactive to January 1st, 2022.
I second the nomination.
Second by Mr. Callahan. Are there any other nominations for Clerk of Council?
Mr. President, I motion that the nominations be closed.
I second that nomination.
Motion carried. Mr. Clerk, can I have roll call for the election of Michael J. Locker, clerk of the third for clerk of council?
Mrs. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Callahan.
Aye.
Mr. Sierra.
Aye.
Mr. Corbin.
Aye.
Mr. Lippian. Mrs. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Oswald.
Aye.
Mr. Schneider.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Stewart.
Aye.
Mr. Tolet.
Aye.
All ayes. Mr. Flacco has been nominated clerk of council. I declare the nominations open for council president pro tem.
Mr. President, I nominate Donna Mitchell for Council President Pro Tem for the years 2022, 2023 term of council.
I second that motion.
Second by Ms. Davis. Are there any other nominations for council president pro tem?
Mr. President, I move that the nominations be closed.
Second.
Motion carried. Mr. Clerk, can I have a roll call vote for the election of Donna Mitchell for council president pro tem?
Mrs. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Callahan.
Aye.
Mr. Sierra.
Aye.
Mr. Corbin.
Aye.
Mr. Lippian.
Aye.
Mrs. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Oswald.
Aye.
Mr. Schneider.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Stewart.
Aye.
Mr. Tolet.
Aye.
All ayes.
Donna Mitchell has been elected as council president pro tem. At this time, I declare the floor open for nominations for council majority leader.
Mr. President, I nominate Thomas G. Callahan as Council Majority Leader for the 2022-2023 term of council.
I second the nomination.
Are there any other nominations for majority leader?
Mr. President, I move that the nominations be closed.
I second the motion.
Motion carried. Mr. Clerk, can I have a roll call vote for the Democratic members of council members for the election of Thomas G. Callahan for majority leader?
Mrs. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Callahan.
Aye.
Mr. Sierra.
Aye.
Mrs. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Oswald.
Aye.
Mr. Schneider.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Stewart.
Aye.
Mr. Tolet.
Aye.
All ayes.
Excuse me, Mr. Clerk, we've elected Thomas G. Callahan as council majority leader. I declare the floor open for nominations for council, minority leader.
Mr. President,
Yes, Mr. Corbin.
I nominate Andrew Lippian for Council Minority Leader for the 2022-2023 term of council.
Second by Mr. Lippian. Are there any other nominations for minority leader?
I move that the nominations be closed.
Motion carried. Ms. Clerk, can I have a roll call for the minority members of council for the election of Andrew Lippian for minority leader?
Mr. Corbin.
Aye.
Mr. Lippian.
Aye.
All ayes.
Andrew Lippian has been elected as council minority leader. Thus far, council has operated without any rules. The proposed council rules for the 2022-2023 term have been distributed this evening.
Mr. President, I move that these council rules, committee, and seating arrangements be adopted for the council term 2020 through 2021.
Mr. President, I second that motion.
Ms. Clerk, I have a roll call to vote for the adoption of the 2022-2023 council rules. A roll call vote.
Mrs. Davis.
Aye.
Mr. Callahan.
Aye.
Mr. Sierra.
Aye.
Mr. Corbin.
Aye.
Mr. Lippian.
Aye.
Mrs. Mitchell.
Aye.
Mr. Oswald.
Aye.
Mr. Schneider.
Aye.
Mrs. Simmons.
Aye.
Mr. Stewart.
Aye.
Mr. Tolet.
Aye.
All ayes.
The council rules for the 2022-2023 have been adopted. Before we proceed with the regular order of business, I'd like to recommit all the matters that were in council committees to the same committees of the new council. This includes all matters still pending or matters that we have not acted upon. Okay, we're going to go into, carry on with our meeting here at this particular time. Are there any public hearings?
There are none.
Can I get approval of the minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Sierra. Second by Ms. Mitchell. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Remarks and reports from city officials. Mayor Whitfield.
Thank you, Council President, and congratulations to you and all the members of council. Looking forward to working with you all again in 2022 and 2023, looking forward to getting the new members on board. I just want to invite you all at any time to come in and meet with the staff, and there's a lot to catch up on, but I think that if we put the time in, we can catch you up, and if but it's going to be some work though. And I'm a big emailer, so I'm going to be emailing a lot. So get ready to check your emails a lot. And, but from our standpoint, we still have the same focus, of trying to transform the city, focusing on our culture, on our economy, and on our community. From a cultural standpoint, just trying to maintain as much positivity and focus on our assets as a city as much as possible. Try to bridge any divides that we have within the city and trying to bring folks together. Moving the city into the 21st century, so a lot of technology we rely on, and we're trying to move the city in that direction. From a community standpoint, to continue to develop our parks and our programming with a focus on families, seniors, and children. From an economic standpoint, continue to support our residents getting post-secondary credentials and partnering with, the community college and JVS to help our residents get the skills for the 21st century. Support the existing businesses in the city. So anything that you all can do to help us kind of do that outreach and maintain those relationships is going to be important. And then focusing, one new focus that has come up is the city developing sites and getting sites prepared for businesses to come into town. So that's been a new focus area. But again, our doors are always open for questions. You don't have to be in the dark and call my cell. And we're looking forward to working together.
Thank you, Mayor. Any questions for Mayor Whitfield? Thank you, Mayor. Safety Service Director Brubaker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. To echo the mayor, congratulations to the 11 of you, the 8 that are returning and the 3 new ones. And also to echo the mayor, my office door is always open. You can email, call, stop in and see me. It doesn't really matter. I'm available all the time. Last week, effective actually today, we as administration made an operational change. Each of you should have received an email on the announcement earlier today, but we made an operational change within the engineering department. We've promoted Kathy McKillips, who's been with us for several years, into the engineer's role, and we've assigned Mr. Schneider into the assistant engineer role. That's going to take us to a more global view of what our engineering department looks like across the board in the city. Ms. McKillips will be focusing on some of the major infrastructure projects with all the dollars that are coming our way and overseeing multiple projects. Mr. Schneider will be doing some of the assisting in that world. It will not change really how our inspectors and those folks are working, but from an operational standpoint, we felt that making a change now would be in our best interest with all the money that we have coming forward and all the projects that we're going to have throughout the next couple of years in the city of Elyria. With that being said, also one other thing, our salt trucks will be out and about. Last night we got hit pretty hard all at one time, and we rolled about 9 trucks last night for about 3 hours. We did have some accidents that happened prior to them getting out, but our trucks are loaded with salt now. We've put the leaf vacs away, and the plows and the salt are ready to roll when that time arises. So if you have any questions or concerns, you can always reach out to me. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Brubaker? Mr. Oswald?
Through you, Mr. President, we got an awful lot of projects going on in the city. Engineering department going to be able to handle it? Have you been looking towards alternative to maybe get some more help?
Through you, Mr. President, we are working, the administration is working with Ms. McKillips on the capacity within the department. We do believe that there's additional need within that department, and we'll be working with Ms. McKillips over the next several weeks to determine what that need is and what direction we need to go, whether it's, you know, an outside consultant or bringing more internal capacity, but we are working with her on that.
Okay, thank you. Finance Director Plesky.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to take a moment to congratulate all of you on your new terms. Please remember that my door is always open. I'm here to help you do your jobs and move the city forward. So looking forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Mr. Plesky. Law Director Deary.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome, or welcome back, as the case may be. I'd just like to echo the sentiments of especially Finance Director Pileski. We're right across the hall from each other, so if you stop to see one of us, feel free to stop and see the other one. And we're here to answer your questions or hunt down the answer that we may not have. So you can email or call or just stop in, and we'll try to get whatever you need. So that's it, and happy first meeting.
Thank you, Law Director Deary. I see Ms. McKillips, City Engineer. Welcome. Congratulations on your new appointment. Look forward to working with you. I don't know if you want to say anything at this particular time, but I think a lot of people know who you are and what you've done within the City Engineering Department, and I'm sure if there's any questions and what's going on with the projects, the council members can be filled in by you. All right. Thank you. Mr. Corzan. Thank you, Mr. Corzan. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Corzan? All right. At this time, items 6 through 15, we have no business at hand at this time. So we're going to move down to committee calls.
Community Development requests the Law Director, Safety Service Director, Building Inspector, and Engineer on Monday, January 10th, 6 p.m. All items referred. Joint CD Finance requests the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on Monday, January 10th, immediately following Community Development. All items referred. Finance requests the Mayor, Law Director, Finance Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on Monday, 1/10, immediately following joint meeting. All items referred. Utility Safety Environment requests the Law Director, Safety Service Director, and Engineer on Wednesday, January 19th, beginning at 6 p.m. All items referred. And Strategic Planning requests the Safety Service Director, Mayor, Safety Service Director, Finance Director, Law Director on Tuesday, January 18th, immediately following full council meeting. All items referred.
I got ahead of myself in regards to the President's referrals because we do have some referrals in front of us. Item number 1, to Community Development Finance. Item number 2, Utilities and Finance Committees. Item number 3, Utilities Committees. Items 4 through 5 received and placed on file for the clerk's office. My apologies for that. Miscellaneous and unfinished business. Yes, Ms. Mitchell.
I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution without the benefit of a committee report and waive any defect in service and declare an emergency.
Second.
Pointer, I think if we need to read the resolution.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Okay. A resolution appointing Victor F. Stewart III to the Board of Directors of the Elyria Community Improvement Corporation, ECIC, and declare an emergency.
Okay, so again, I'd like to make a motion to approve this resolution without the benefit of a committee report and to waive any defect in service and declare an emergency.
I second that.
Second by Mr. Callahan. On the suspension, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the emergency, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. On the passage, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried.
Resolution 2022-1.
Mr. President, I would like to make a motion to approve the council calendar for the year 2022, 2023.
Motion made by Ms. Mitchell. Second. Second by Mr. Sayre. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. Is there any other miscellaneous or unfinished business?
Mr. President.
Oh, Mr. Callahan, I'm sorry, Mr. Callahan? Did you?
Yeah. So, thank you, Mr. President, through you. I'd just like to take a moment and welcome back all my colleagues who are returning. Congratulations. I know we're going to work well together. But I especially want to welcome Andrew, Maurice, and Chad, the City Council. I know I can speak for all of my colleagues who've been here, that we're here to help, we're here to answer your questions, and we're here to work together. I think that this council has a great opportunity to carry on the great example of former Councilman Jack Baird and the example that he showed us. So we have that opportunity, and I think we'll come through for the citizens of Elyria. And basically, Elyria, we are on the doorstep of many positive opportunities. So this is definitely the time to unite and work together. Doesn't mean we always have to agree, but we should work together for the betterment of the city. Thank you, and welcome to our 3 new council members.
Thank you, Mr. Callahan. Mr. Lippian.
Through you, Mr. President, I would just like to echo the words of the distinguished councilman. Completely reciprocated. Thank you very much, sir. We look forward to and appreciate the warm welcome. We are honored to represent the residents of our wards, eager to work collegially together for the betterment of our city, and clasp hands in partnership with each other, the mayor, and all Illyrians for a bright future. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Lippian. Is there any other miscellaneous and unfinished business? If not,
I'll make a motion that we adjourn.
second. Moved by Ms. Mitchell, second by Mr. Sayre. Is there any further discussion?
Question.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion carried. This meeting is adjourned.
23 minutes. I was wondering who's going to take that rollover.
That looks like part of the short.
Yeah.
That it will not be normal.
That was, yeah.
Yes.
Mine? This week? Sure. Evening, you have to do evening? Yeah, that's fine.
That's your second office, isn't it?
How about Wednesday? Or you have utilities on Wednesday? You don't have utilities? You don't have to be here for that? Oh, good, that's nice. Monday, you live here on Monday. I live here on Monday, and I appreciate that too. All right. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.